This is a movie review of The Lorax, the new Dr. Seuss movie that came out last week. This is Silly Kelly to review this movie, The Lorax. Greetings, fellow movie fans. I'm Silly Kelly coming at you, and here we are on the. This is a movie review. I haven't done one of these in a while. I got a movie review of The Lorax here. I happen to be wearing the orange here. But actually, I really don't like the movie that much, but I just happen to be wearing orange. Now, it's based on a Dr. Seuss story, of which the premise was that there's this Onceler character who apparently, as a young sort of capitalist hick guy, shows up in this town with his relatives. They basically cut down all these fuzzy trees because they've decided, we have to make a profit on this weird thing called a sneed, and we have to sell the sneeds to the people and stuff, which is capitalist. Interesting. But he ends up chopping down every tree in the forest, and then bad things happen, and many years later, this boy shows up, and he tells the boy the story. Now, that's where the similarities between the story and the movie sort of end. The movie takes off in another direction and tries to imitate WALL-E. Pixar? I think Pixar. One of those. This one was done by the guys that did Despicable Me, of which I have not seen. But these guys are basically ripping off WALL-E and Fern Gully, The Last Rainforest from back in the day. Fern Gully wasn't really that great a movie. It was very preachy. So was this one. In the premise of this one, apparently it's a generation after the story, and the townsfolk, that their livelihood was destroyed indirectly by cutting down all of the furry trees. This leads to this formation of this town led by this little creepy Napoleon-like dude with funny hair that looks sort of like one of the minions from Despicable Me, crossed with Napoleon, crossed with like somebody else, a little dictator guy, and he's basically communist or something, and he traps them all in this commune, puts up this big iron curtain or wall, and throws them inside it. And he's like, okay, you guys gotta be in my town and never come out ever again. So he basically kicks them out. And then there's this, it's years later, and the townsfolk apparently never leave the town anymore, and they all get their air from this air tycoon, who's clearly some sort of elitist character, like a big business character, and he gives them the air, but they can't leave, which is sort of a dystopian idea, I guess. It's a mess, but this boy who wants to impress this girl, he's a teenager, a young teenager. He wants to impress the older girl. So, but she tells him that you got to get me a tree if you can impress me into kissing you or whatever. So he sneaks out of the village. He meets up with the Onceler, who is this hermit guy now living in this desolated, treeless place with smog everywhere. How the entire Earth is covered with smog in this universe, we don't know. Yes. And the Onceler tells him the story about the Lorax, who doesn't really appear very much in the movie, but the Onceler does. And then convinces him, about what happened, and gives him a seed and says, here, go back to the city and fix what I did, basically. So the Onceler sends him back. And then there's this big chase, and I don't want to give away the ending or anything, or what happens, because most people probably haven't seen it. But it was okay. I thought it was okay, but it was a little preachy, a little overdone. It could have been better, and it's unfortunate that it was like that. It could have been a half an hour, really. They could have told the same story in a half an hour. It's kind of like Silly Kelly, and I think it was rated PG. Should have been G, though. They really, even the dark parts weren't dark. Like, ooh, it's scary. No, it wasn't scary. But the message was a little blunt. Like, ooh, ecology, and I'm all for saving the environment, but I think they were hitting them over the head a little too much for that one. And the jokes were kind of odd. Even the adults weren't getting them, so yeah, we've seen that before. But in the original book, there was no like society called Sneedville. That wasn't in there, or at least it wasn't like that. It was like something else, decimated already. So yeah, so I added that. It didn't need to be 90 minutes either. I don't think. It seemed like it was 2 hours. Anyway, so there you go. The Lorax. Yeah, I guess I'd give it 2.5 stars. I'll be generous. The Lorax.